to another Clearmud live stream. Thanks for being here. Let's get started, shall we? Let's pop that open. Let me make sure we're live. Let's also play this background music. Make sure my social chat is enabled. How's everyone doing today? Let's get started. We are live. Perfect. So let me mute that tab, shall we? Let's pop that. Make sure we're good there. And we should be good with chat. Testing chat. For some reason, it's posting to Twitch by default, but it does look like it's working. Ooh, one thing I remembered I wanted to do after rewatching a live stream, I want to make these a little bit larger for that people watching on mobile, they can actually see the pinned comments. Let's go about half screen there. Perfect. Yeah, I want to start off by saying thank you. If you're new here, thanks for being here. I'm going to start off with this little chart here. You know, I started this channel as a passion project out of curiosity. You're going to see that's something I like to kind of build off of, is just building off of curiosity. But yesterday's video, I was not expecting that type of engagement, that type of response, none of that. Looks like our chat isn't working properly. Let's see. Unless the social stream ninja is delayed. Because I do see a chat on YouTube. What's up, Purpose? Doing good. How are you? I'll pin your comment as soon as I get this social stream working again. Let me just open that up real quick. Okay, wait, that's weird. Try posting that again. The Purpose is you. I love that name. I gotta say, I love that name. The Purpose is you. What's up, Cozy? Hey, Cozy is a good name too, man. EU. Hey, that's where I'm at right now. So I spent half my year here in Portugal, the other half in California. So I've been here though for the past 10 months or so. Definitely stayed a little longer than I originally planned to this year, or this past year rather. But loving that dual citizen life. But yeah, going back before I get sidetracked, you notice on all my intros on my videos, I say without squirrel ado, because I am notoriously known for squirreling and kind of not getting completely off topic, but sometimes losing track at the topic at hand. I just want to say thank you to everybody who engaged, who followed. Like, I am floored by the response of the video I posted yesterday. I recorded that Wednesday because I was finally confident with my system to where I was like, people need to see this because I think people can gain inspiration from this. Now, I do have part 2, part 3 of that video in the queue, and I'll show you that system where I break it down and I try to reverse engineer it with you. One thing I want to ask you at the start of the stream, I'll also do it at the end of the stream. Starting March 1st, I will be back in California. Our stream time is going to stay the same. I strategically picked 5 p.m. European and then 9 a.m. Pacific so that no matter what, that stays consistent moving forward, right? But I have an idea for a series of live streams and not do the same thing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? Tuesday and Thursdays are off because that's our long form video post. But the idea here, let me delete this, is an ideation Monday. I work out of my Clearmud OS, which I'm about to demo. We're gonna do a little show and tell first after the Q&A. And then Q&A, or we switch that up, right? And then Wednesday's the fun one that, you know, based off of your interest and your feedback, and if you wanna see this, I will do it. Building another Openclaw agent dashboard from scratch, trying to replicate Muddy OS. Because the truth about Muddy OS, I spent over 100 hours on that thing. Countless iterations, at least 25 different like structural iterations of it, to the point where I'm now happy with it. So I think going through those trials and tribulations of testing and breaking and things bugging out, like, I think it would be a fun series every Wednesday to build with you live so that you literally see the sauce, as Greg Eisenberg says. I love his channel. Yeah, I love his channel. I won't get off topic there without squirrel ado, right? But I think Wednesdays we build our own in public so that people can follow along. I think that would be very valuable to you, right? And that's you know, I'm here to be of service, right? And for anybody asking, I'm not here to entertain, I'm not here to hype. If I'm hyped, that's because I'm hyped. That's because that's my energy towards something. But I'm here to be of service. I'm here to help. I'm here to answer questions. So keep that in mind moving forward, right? But I'm not gonna just hand out the code base to Muddy OS. And the reason is that defeats the whole purpose of me posting content around it and showing you it, right? Because A, there's a lot of personal stuff in there. So I would have to be meticulous about exporting it in a way to where I can export the foundation of it. But, you know, my reasoning behind that video was I have watched countless videos of other creators, of other Openclaw builders, and I get ideas from everybody. And then I test, I iterate. That's the type of builder I am. I like to be, I tinker, right? I experiment. So that's where the value lies in that video is like, oh, wow, I can do that? Ooh, let me try to do this. And then here's another hack, just screenshot the video, different parts of the video, feed it to your Openclaw, give them the video link on YouTube, it'll download the transcript, it'll try to reverse engineer it from that video. Openclaw can do that. So, but yeah, let me get to the comments real quick. I just wanted to get that kind of rant out the way because I'm excited, I'm grateful, I'm humbled, but I also haven't had the time to respond to everybody individually. So if you are watching this and you commented on the video and you didn't get a response yet, I'm taking tomorrow. It's gonna be an infra day where I'm upgrading both systems a little bit, but I'm also gonna respond thoughtfully to every single comment. That's my promise, okay? So if I didn't respond to you yet, I'm getting to it. I did just pin a comment earlier today because I finished my week. You know, I have a normal week. Like I don't do this full time as much as I'd love to. I do have client work now, so I had to close all that out to the end of the week. And now I can breathe and now I can chill. Saturday, Sunday, I gotta go maintain these dreads down in Lisbon. So I gotta drive 3 hours back and forth, but let's see. Hey, right on. Oh, yesterday night, coding session. Oh, the last live coding session, right on. Yeah, that was a fun one. And we're gonna get back to ClawCrib today. I have a feeling we're gonna be more focused on Q&A and show and tell. But ClawCrib also, I found somebody, I'm sure if you're in the Openclaw community on X, you've seen it. What's his name? I think it's, he's building something called Openclaw Studio or something. It's like a canvas, a visual version of managing your agents. I'm gonna be honest, ClawCrib was a fun idea, but I may very well reach out to him and just give him the domain, give him the code base and say, dude, you're doing a way better job than I am. This was my approach. If you want to merge that approach, hand it off, right? I don't know yet. That's a thought I had after I saw his project. He's been updating it and involved in the community quite a bit. But yeah, so, hey, Graham, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know why that's difficult to say. Yeah, Graham. As of now, I have no plans to do it. But I do have plans to do this Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, depending on community feedback, building our own from scratch in public so that you can see the step-by-step. And you got to keep in mind, like I've spent a lot of time on these 2 operating systems to where I can do it more efficiently now, right? My first week, I finally, I was testing Openclaw at first with a pro Claude subscription, and I was just maxing out too quick. So after a few weeks of that, I was like, forget it, let me get the max. My first week on max, I maxed it out in 4.5 days because of how much time I spent. I mean, I'd stay up until dawn, until the sky was blue, working on foundation, working on iteration. So you can understand why it's not that I don't want to release it for public, but I'm about to show you it. It's already different from Wednesday, right? From the recording Wednesday of yesterday's video. So it's constantly evolving. So I'm not at a point where I'm happy with it to then share it. So it's possible down the line, but I would much rather prefer building in public with you, teaching you, answering questions, because you get more value out of that. You actually learn more, I think. So I hope that answers your question. Hey, right on. Yeah, so that video was primarily, I did a lot of research. I did like 10 different Windows deployments, and that was one of the easiest approaches I found. And for those curious, I'm a Windows 10 guy. I've been a Windows guy my whole life. I grew up in a computer shop, very fortunate to be around tech my whole life. But you know, we noticed something in the industry. Every other Windows operating system was shit. Excuse my language. I need to not curse. But Windows 95, great. 98, meh. I'm actually having a brain fart. What came after 98? That was Millennium. No, Millennium was poop, right? And then Windows XP was great. Windows Vista, meh. Windows 7, great. Windows 8, meh. Windows 10, great. You see the trend there. So I know Microsoft said they're not going to release another. They wanted to call Windows 11 Windows X or something. I'm not in the IT industry anymore. I retired in 2021 due to some burnout and some other reasons. However, I believe they're going to release another, you know, kind of like version of it. And I think that'll be the killer one, right? They generally learn from their mistakes every other time. Yeah, so you guys should go definitely check out that video. He just did an interview with Lex Friedman. It's my hope that it stays open source. From what I understood in that interview, he's gonna make sure to keep it open source. I really hope whoever takes over doesn't defy those, you know, I guess, I'd imagine to be by contract, right? But like defy that intent behind it. The more I watch about Peter, like he seems like a great guy, so I'm super grateful for him. We should all, I posted on Twitter yesterday, he responded, it was great. But like we should all just like show some love on the timeline on Twitter. Just say thank you. Just say thank you, because I see a lot of negativity and I'm just like, it's unwarranted in my opinion. But yeah, going back to that, I hope you enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions. For everybody here, I am gonna be opening up a community Discord. Right now it's invite only, but there's only one other person, a true OG. He'll probably show up in a little bit. Literally one of the first viewers who was here commenting, we've been jamming in the Discord and I've been helping him build out his system. So I'm gonna slowly open that up to the public, invite only, but I wanna make sure it's not spammy. I wanna make sure people who are in there are truly curious, kind, right? And are just focused on building, right? And sharing what they're building. But yeah, hey, I'm glad you like that. Alex Finn, what's the question? Let's see. Video setup on my unused Windows MacBook, Alex Finn. I don't know the reference. I know his content for sure. I know he's blowing up. I believe after that Greg Eisenberg interview, the second one, he just went straight up. It was wild. I have nothing against him, but I'm not a Mac Mini guy. I do have a MacBook Pro, but it's my belief, the reason I made those two demos, first, how to install Openclaw on a VM on your Mac OS X versus how to install one in a sandboxed Ubuntu installation on Windows. I think you should just install it locally and test it first before you even think about investing the hardware. Now, if you have that money to blow, by all means, do you. But I don't. I'm bootstrapping this brand, right? I got bills to worry about. I got food to put on the table. So that's not my focus. And I also do have a VM hypervisor. It's an octa-core. It's got at least 90 something gigs of memory. I think it's DDR4, so it's a little outdated. It's a server from when my second business was operational. I'm essentially gonna repurpose that as soon as I get back to California, and I'm gonna migrate this instance over there. But for those curious, like, I'm not letting it take control of my whole machine. I am literally using the first demo I made. I'll show you briefly. Let me just open a new tab so I hide everything. But this is a virtual machine on my MacBook, right? I essentially haven't turned this thing off. I restart it for maintenance, but it's sandboxed. It's been working great. My sub-agent Hype, he should actually have some posts prepped here. Let's go see. Looks like he did, yeah, it was waiting for my approval. So currently I don't automate things fully yet because I don't trust it enough yet. But I did give Muddy, my main bot, his own Google Workspace account, his own phone number, so he signed up for Vercel, he did his own GitHub for ClawCrib. He's very autonomous from that perspective, but I'm still the final approval on things because I really want to dial things in before I truly automate it, because I don't want to start automating things and have it making mistakes and then having me go in to redo those things. So I'm really holding my setup's hand for at least the next 2 weeks. Until March, I think I'll be confident to kind of automate things a little bit more. Yeah. Hey, I remember those days. My dad, he worked for Cume. It was a Silicon Valley company. And he was in the engineering department for those old 5 1/4 floppies. He was on the team that built out that model. He still has some at his house, like on display. So we still have some old floppies as well. I remember playing Doom back in the day. I was a kid, mind you. But when I first started using the internet, we had dial-up. And we had one computer in the house. This was right before he started, or right as he was starting his company. And me and my siblings kind of had to wait. I remember those IRC chat rooms as soon as I found them. Good old days. Oh, no. I don't think I was. No, I definitely didn't. I thought it was something to do with Windows. But nah. What's up, Ganj? Thanks for tuning in. Nice PFP. Yo, DB. What's up, Derek? Why isn't that pinning? There's like a weird little visual glitch right now. How you doing today? Excuse me. All right, but really quickly in the chat, I'd love to know, right? Does this schedule look good? Let me also show Friday. So Friday was also gonna be a community day, or we build a new micro SaaS, or we just build something and ship it live as a public Git so that people can fork it and do whatever they want with it. I really want to bring value, right? I don't want to just sit here and kind of regurgitate the same thing. I want to be of service, as I mentioned, as Derek knows. So give me if you don't like this schedule, let me know in the chat what day of the week you'd prefer to see what type of live stream, okay? And we're gonna get this rolling March 1st. And the reason March 1st, if you're just tuning in, I live between 2 countries, and this is a travel month, so I'm getting things in order here, getting the house kind of like, winterized essentially to leave vacant for a while. So I just have a lot to do, and then I travel on the last week of the month. But I'm gonna hit the ground running as soon as I get back to California. And this schedule will stay consistent moving forward no matter what country I'm in. The only differentiator is end of October or end of November, beginning of December is olive harvest here in Portugal. So I generally take 5 days and I just go hard at the farm, usually 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So probably gonna have to take that week off when it's olive harvest time. But aside from that, I'm gonna stay true to the schedule. No, not at all. What I'm saying is that's just I've had a few questions about it. That's just my preference. That demo should work on Windows 11 as well. Let me know if it doesn't, and I'd be happy to help you first and foremost. But then also, obviously, update that video. More shipping on Friday, yes sir. But yeah, does this schedule look good? I think this is the most valuable one, right? Building an agent from scratch. Do we just do that every day of the week until it's done and then call that a series? I kind of like the idea of splitting them up and having a theme of the day, right? Every Wednesday we focus on building this. Every Friday we focus on building that. But listen, I'm here for you. So let me know what you want to see. And popular demand gets it. All right, let's do a little show and tell while I wait for some responses. So here's MuddyOS now. It's changed a little bit, as you can see, right? That old front end, the foundation of it is solid, but I didn't like how everything was structured. I didn't like how there weren't 2 columns up top. There was a lot of wasted space, and the model fleet, I might change this a little bit, but I like how it condensed everything. I might change this back to those rectangular modules here to kind of sit and float, but I do like this list right here. This shows all my cron jobs, shows me what's failed, so I do have to address this one. I can also filter them by agent. Oh, my video's in the way. Let me hide my video real quick. I can filter them by agent here with this drop-down color coding. It's really nice and easy, right? So they just have daily check-ins. Muddy does most of the orchestration, as you learned from the org chart. But my new active sessions is, this is true to me, right? I love the terminal. I love the look. And I thought those rows are just wasted spaces. So let me try to create three module rows. They're not technically 3 columns. I don't think I specified that, but I'm just loving the look. This is way more like enjoyable to me. And I think I only did the light mode on the video, but it does have a light dark mode toggle here. The light mode I need to work on. It's not aesthetically pleasing yet. That's why I'm looking at dark, but I can also filter here between each individual chief of staff, what they were doing, right? I had a bug with my daily stand-ups. They actually weren't working since I made those tweaks on Wednesday. So I've since got them working. We can go preview that in a minute. But I'm really just loving this feel. And then I also made this an accordion. So this entire active session module is now an accordion, which I think is pretty nifty, so that I don't have to scroll down to see the overnight log, right? And currently the overnight log, I'll give a preview. So I built out this brain as well, where this hits my email inbox of all my morning briefs. But currently I'm gonna be moving memory and automations into ops and co-locating those, because I essentially have a memories directory in my, my workspaces now. And then I think projects as well, maybe. But then I can search literally every conversation if I ever like second guess myself or know I said something. And then my file structure of my entire VM, right? The entire workspace. As you can see, the OG name Claude, because I set this first one up when it was still ClawDebot back in the day. And then I have lab. This one needs a complete overhaul. Every night I have my Muddy OS, essentially my Muddy. He spins up, he does some market research, and then he spins up a prototype for a new idea. And it's based off of the premises that, you know, the next billion-dollar company is gonna be a one-person company. So I can come in here to the pipeline, and I need to automate this. This is why I didn't show this in that video, because this weekend I'm doing a lot of work on it. But let's go take a look at this one, for example, or I think Clean Slate was last night, so I can just spin up the preview. So it essentially sets up a preview for me of the site. Pretty legit. And then if I click in to that, that project, it shows me the problem, the solution it solves, the market size, why AI native, competition, moat, right? All these details. And it looks like a lot of sources from Y Combinator. So I'll be showing more off of that down the road, but I'm still, as I mentioned, I'm still optimizing it. It's not ready. Let's see here. Let's go back to Task Manager. What else did I change? I got these, shout out to Derek. I improved my icons, got rid of the emojis. There still might be a few lingering. And then we have our team here, right? Muddy's my orchestrator. I'll walk through this in the video, but so I won't walk through it again to waste your time. But if you do want to see me walk through this one by one, I can do that for you. The stand-up, so let's go look at today's stand-up. It went autonomously, and it looks like they did go back and forth quite a bit. We do have an action items waiting for my approval. Curious, let's play it. And bear with me, I know the voices are very generic, but I will be getting an 11 Labs. I will be paying for 11 Labs at some point to like fine tune those voices a little bit more, but for now it works. All right, so that's generating workspaces. This is something else that I incorporated since yesterday's video that dropped, is a shared meeting memory. So the organization is kind of whack right now. I need to optimize this. I think I'm gonna add another tree here, I think is the move. But essentially every meeting that the executives have, with or without me, whether I call the stand-up or whether it's their daily or weekly stand-up, they remember what was discussed. They will remember what was improved. They remember everything from those meetings. There wasn't that when I first set that up. So this is, you know, ever evolving. I am soon going to be setting up a WhatsApp link to my OpenSpace setup, or Openclaw setup. But that's going to be more of like a personal vision strategy thing. I really want to like segregate my chats to where, you know, Telegram and Gateway are main agent chat, and then WhatsApp is going to be another idea that I have. I'm still testing some ideas, so can't really share any more about that. And then this is something that You didn't see in yesterday's video because I built it out after the video. And I shared my lesson at the beginning of Wednesday's live stream. Never do infra changes in the middle of the week when you have other things to do. I broke my system. But I am getting away from using the gateway chat, right? My goal is to only come in here when it's administrative, when I absolutely need to, right? So let me show you what I've done. It's still a bit buggy. It technically works, but I built my own chat tab here. It has my C-suite chat, so I can see all their conversations they're having together, right? But then it has this main chat here. As you can see, I was running into a lot of errors. I did get it working last. But then I thought, like, I wasted 4 hours that day that I could have spent editing videos. So it really bugged me. So I learned that lesson. But essentially, this is my new chat now. And the one thing I love about this is I can attach images in the main chat. In the gateway chat, I'm sure you've noticed, you can't attach images in the chat. You have to send them through Telegram or Discord, which I do have that set up. I'll give a preview of what our Discord looks like. Oh, looks like Derek gave us a preview of his, ooh. See, I might have to draw inspiration from you, Derek. I'm loving this. Okay. But I do have a direct line to Muddy here as well. It's primarily Discord related stuff, but it is a part of the main chat. So I've been either attaching images there. I also have a voice to text working, so I can send a voice note to my agent through Telegram or Discord, and it transcribes it and responds to me, which is pretty cool. That one's open source as well. I forget what it uses, to be honest, off the top of my head. But the goal here is to like get away from that gateway chat and fully function out of Muddy OS. And then another feature I built in is like, as I'm going through the entire Muddy OS, no matter what application I'm in, no matter what tab I'm in, you see down here this floating icon, which I need to give him a new icon. When I was first building him out with his soul and identity, which was very basic, I said, design your own logo. This is what he came up with. It was comedy. But I have this floating chat module that's a part, so like I can talk real time as I'm in the operating system. So it's still a little buggy, right? But when I do a version 2 of yesterday's video where we break down all of the changes and then we start to reverse engineer my approach, right? Yesterday was more of a show and tell. And that was the purpose. It was to inspire. It was to give you ideas, not to show you exactly how I built it. Because to be completely transparent, as I mentioned at the beginning, like I went through so many iterations, so much back and forth. Like I can reverse engineer how I built it, but like, will it be the same? Probably not. Probably not. But one thing I could always do is ask Muddy to say, hey, pick apart each application in Muddy OS. Give me a master prompt that I can hand off to the audience for them to build their own version of it, and then see what happens. Maybe that's something we do in a few weeks once I'm happy with where we're at. But as I mentioned, like every day I'm coming up with ideas. Every day I'm adding things to my notepad to do for my infra Saturday, upgrades. So let's see, what model you running for this? How much are tokens costing you roughly? So I run Claude Code, the Claude Max subscription. So I just pay the $200 a month. I don't do any additional API usage there. For the Opus 4.5 anti-gravity, through my business account for Google, I got this 60% off promotion for 3 months on Google AI Ultra. So I'm paying like 100 something a month. So I use that as a fail-safe. So I use my anti-gravity OAuth as a fail-safe. And I set that up when I maxed out on Claude Code Max. It's like, oh, this is really annoying. I don't want to have to pay for a second Claude Code Max. And I found that workaround. It wasn't as effective, but it works. And then I have Gemini 3 Pro, which is a part of that through Gemini CLI. GPT 5.3 codecs. I don't pay the $200 a month. I just pay the $20 a month one. It's been good enough. It's a little slow, I'm noticing, but it's good enough because those types of tasks I give those departments that Elon handles, right? He determines whether or not it's backend or security related or front end and DevOps related, and then he hands it off to the sub-agents. That all works in the background. I'm not stressing on how quick it is. So I haven't noticed a big issue. I haven't maxed out any sessions yet, so it's been great. And then Gemini 3 Flash, that's a part of the anti-gravity OAuth. Well, Gemini CLI OAuth rather. And then I have a Nano Banana Pro for all of my image generation, which I'm about to show off in Clearmud OS. But I mean, my bill last month was 25 bucks, but that's because I did a demo with Opus 4.5 and Google VO3, which I might never release because I wasted tokens, and $20 of that 25 went because of VO3 generative outputs. It was really annoying. It was very cost prohibitive. I probably won't do something like that again, but it was an experiment nevertheless. That video is on my backlog at the moment. So that's my model fleet. That's how they work. And then the team, you know, it didn't work one shot. I'll be honest, like I may have made it look easy in the video yesterday, but the video was meant to be as a demonstration on how things are working now. For me to get to that point, there was a lot of trial and error. There was a lot of frustration from time to time, a lot of back and forth, a lot of asking questions of like, why did this slip through the cracks? Why is this subagent not using this model, right? Learning why, and then applying the fixes to make sure that they actually follow that structure. So it's just been a lot of trial and error. And one recommendation I have for anybody is just like experiment, play, learn. That's the best way through it. Watching a video and copying somebody else's work, you know, code for line, I don't think is the move. There's nothing wrong with that. I know that's a way of learning, but I'm a hands-on learner. I always learn through experimentation and actually doing the thing myself. I was never good in school for that reason, or well, traditional school rather. All right, I think that covers everything here. Oh, and then I have a running documentation. So every night when my cron job for like memory compact runs, it'll essentially evaluate everything we discussed and changed that day, and then update our documentation section. So there's a number of reasons. One, I can review it. If I'm curious about how something's work or how something's connected, I go in here. Then also all of my chief of staff, all of my sub agents and underlying agents can reference this, right? So it's, you know, something that I incorporated into the build because I thought it was necessary. That's the truth about ClawBot. Does amazing things, but also errors, mistakes, etc. It takes time. Yeah, it does. It does. And you know, I think anybody who's like trying to say that it's easy, take that with a grain of salt. Like, take that with a grain of salt. I'm here to be honest. I'm here to be honest. Like, I'm not gonna bullshit you. Excuse my language. I have to watch my language, don't I? Yes, I did. Through many different iterations. But yes. And thanks for being here. All right, so time to show off Clearmud OS. I've shown it off in past live streams, but I haven't shown it off in a video yet because I'm still fine tuning it, but I have officially migrated Clearmud's workspace off of Notion. Now I need to migrate my personal brand, which is just like a fun photography, daily vlog, daily photo thing I do, which I've been posting a video a day on that channel for 300 and something days, almost 390 days, and then posting a photo a day on Instagram and X on that account for 1,000 something days now. It's wild. So I need to either make an OS for that, or I still use Notion for that essentially, but we're almost completely off. I do have this dashboard. I'll be honest, I don't come in here often, at least not yet. I need to fine tune this, but it does kind of give it access to all the tools, but all the tools are on my left menu bar. Now, one thing to keep in mind with all these tools, YouTube Script, if you look back on this channel, I built this. I show you how to build this. I originally built this in Claude Code, and the way it worked was, it was a Claude Code CLI command. So I would spin up a Claude terminal, run / YouTube Script, and it would go through the process of how I programmed it to come up with ideas, right? I fed it a ton of different methodology from like Patty Galloway, a lot of creators that I've been following over the years. I just downloaded those YouTube transcripts and I fed it. And I said, you know, summarize this and let's create a methodology doc so that we can reference when we're writing scripts. The thing about my scripts though is I don't read them word for word. I generate it, I look at it, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but that's not me. And then I use talking points and I kind of naturally flow through it myself. And the reason is, when we get over to this app here, Video to Social, This is another tool I built here on the channel in a long form video that I ended up using. It was called, I think the title is Repurpose OS. It's a 2-part series weeks ago. Very similar, it's a / generate command. And what it does is / generate paste YouTube URL, right? Then it downloads the transcript of that YouTube URL. It determines the voice, the tone, the voice DNA, and then it generates copy on LinkedIn, X, and Substack. And now I have it doing my blogs on Clearmud.ai. So every YouTube video I post, a blog gets automatically pushed through my hype subagents kind of content cascade, I think I called it, where, I think it's about 12 to 16 hours after a video is posted, hype will go run this and then prepare all the posts for me. I think I showed it off at the beginning of the stream. I need to go approve those posts because I don't fully trust it yet. Or is it? But these were all generated here. Whoops. Right? They prepped the post for me. Everything's ready for me I just need to approve it. The X is ready, the Substack's ready. I need to optimize these infographics. They're not really on brand for me right now. So, but like going to it, like I built a lot of this live. The live streams, I can't remember if I built this live, but I built out this tool to make my life easier. So I only show the past 3 live streams on this channel because I never get more than 3 behind. Last night I updated everything. But essentially about 48 hours after I live stream, I run this tool, it downloads the transcript, it creates an optimized YouTube description for me, it adds the timestamps, talking points, transitions, all autonomously. It works pretty solid. Like I haven't had to make any changes. And then suggested tags for the YouTube metadata. So I'll manually go in and update that, about 2 to 3 days after a live stream. I will automate that at some point. But as I mentioned, like I'm holding my system's hand at first to make sure it does things right. And then once I pass off one automation and I trust it, then I'm gonna move on to the next. So eventually I will automate this so that I don't have to do this. All I have to do is focus on making dope videos that bring value, that inspire, and live stream, right? So let me, before I continue down, let me address any possible questions. I'm new to Openclaw. Should I make something like this, or is this something you're selling? No, I'm not selling this. This is an internal tool only. I have no plans to sell it. Listen, I formed an LLC for Clearmud, right? I do have plans for Clearmud long-term, but am I gonna sell you a boot camp or a product and start paywalling things? Nah, that's my one promise to you. I will always be here to answer your questions. If you wanna see me make a particular video around a specific topic, around a specific tool, I'll first do the research about it and analyze. More often than not, I will make that video. And if I don't, I'll explain why. But I'm here to be of service. So whatever you wanna see, like just let me know and I'll make that content for you. But going back to the first part of that question is, listen, I think your first week or 2, you should just experiment with it. My first week, I'll be honest, I was scared of it. I didn't want to give it access to my system. I didn't want to take the time to deploy a sandboxed environment the way that I did. But then I started thinking of like, is this possible? I started seeing certain use cases and I'm like, oh wow, that could be very powerful. So my recommendation is just install it and play with it. Start testing it. You're gonna run into blocks. You're gonna run into little frustrations. Anybody who tells you you won't, I hate to say it, is a liar. Like, no offense to them, but the whole part of this is like, it's learning and growing and finding ways to apply that to you and whatever it is you do, whether you're a content creator, whether you just want it to help manage your family, finances, whatever it is, right? Like, the only limitation here is your imagination, and I think you should just play with it at first. Don't go try building something like this out of the gate. I built this for me because I'm here building a brand that I really want to establish as like the go-to educator for AI tools and making AI simple and easy to use across YouTube. So that's my main focus, right? And I'm never gonna try to sell you on a bootcamp. Now, if someone wants to hire me one-on-one, that's completely different. I will never, ever, ever try to send people down that route, okay? But, I will eventually sell products, but to kind of bring that topic around, I will never hide my content or my value behind a paywall. That's my one promise to you. I will never do that. Clip it. And if I ever do that, shame me, because I won't. Got Openclaw to work, ran out of API. Yeah. My recommendation, honestly, listen, like, nobody's paying me to do any of this. Like, this is bootstrapped. I'm doing this out of just curiosity and joy and my vision for Clearmud, where I want it to go, short, medium, long term. Do a Claude Pro subscription at first. And I think there should be some 50% off deals. Last I checked, if you go to claude.ai/purpose. Now, if I go to this link, this was a Jay Shetty promotion. They gave you 3 months of Pro at $10 a month. So you got 50% off. Test it out with a Claude setup token, a Claude OAuth token is my recommendation, because burning through API usage, like in my Muddy OS, I have this cost, but that's not actually my cost, and I need to fix that. Like, look, had I been running API tokens, it would have cost me 137 just today, and I didn't do that much today, right? But I'll show you my weekly. This week, it looks like I'm at 76%, and that resets tonight, right? Had I not done the infra stuff midweek, I'd probably be at 50%, right? So, you know, like, I want to make sure I get towards the end of the week and realize I have extra weekly usage and try to use it. But at the same time, you know, I'm getting to an efficient point in operations, but like the foundational work, because of how many different iterations, and I was unhappy with something, so I rebuilt it. Like, yeah, like, had I been more strategic and thoughtful about my approach and know what I wanted out the gate, it would have been different. But like, I didn't know exactly what I wanted it to do. I was testing, I was playing, I was like seeing how can I make my life easier for Clearmud, and then also managing this Openclaw gateway, right? Like, how can I like make everything easy and like create an interface that I want to spend all day in, right? And that was my approach behind these two OSs, right? All right, I need to catch up on comments. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Like, I'm enjoying all the comments. I hope it's answering your questions. I hope it's bringing you value. So, depends on how you have it set up. I hate to keep trying to sell people on this approach, right? But I understand that not everybody has the background that I do with hardware, software, and networking. But this VM, once you understand it, it's really easy to run. And it runs sandboxed on your machine. So what's really cool is whenever I need to restart this laptop, all I have to do right here is I hit pause, and it pauses the virtual machine's state of mind. And even if I restart the virtual machine, the gateway starts automatically because I did configure a rule for it to do so. But like, I never have to keep redoing it. So one thing you can try to do, once I have a better understanding of how you have it set up, there should be a way to automate that so that the gateway spins up each time. I've never had to restart my gateway unless I break it through asking it to do something. It always restarts itself. It's always there, readily available. I do daily snapshots of this VM, but then additionally, early on in building and testing, I started doing GitHub. I created a private GitHub repository for my entire Openclaw setup. And every 12 hours, it pushes a backup of all of my files so that if it breaks, if my VM becomes corrupt for whatever reason, if something happens, I can restore it onto a fresh instance. And I know it works because I had to do it once, right? So it's possible. It wasn't easy, right? It took me about an hour of like explaining what happened. I called it the GOAT at first, that persona, but like, it helped me get back online. And it even helped me troubleshoot the old one too, which was great. But yeah, once I have a better understanding, maybe I can be a little bit more useful with my response. Yeah, so that's another one. So Olama, that's on my list to make a video for. But Olama, I guess I haven't visited it on this Arc browser yet. They do have a free tier, and you can play with it this way as well. So I do have a demo coming out for deploying this on a VM. I've just been, backlogged with client work and the queue of videos I already had planned, that it's coming very soon. It should be live by the end of the month, But, and then I'm also gonna get to that and show you my content calendar and everything. Yeah, so I have a bot in our Discord that's currently invite only, right? I wanna be very selective. It's not that I wanna gatekeep, I just don't wanna open it up and just like let there be all this spam. I wanna make sure people who join are genuinely kind and curious and are just here for the vibes, to have fun, to build, to learn, and to grow together, right? Excuse me, my throat's dry today, my goodness. Oh, and anybody who watched the past 2 live streams, I'm gonna squirrel here really quick because that's what I do. We have a wood-fired oven here at this house, and we store wood from the farm right over there. And I'm pretty sure there's a nest of bees because there's these big old things that just will randomly start flying. Listen, I know bees are good for the environment, but I've had to kill everyone I see because I was scarred when I was a child running around. Yeah, TMI. Nevertheless, I put on my jacket to go upstairs to the kitchen, and I hear this buzzing, right? I do my thing, I keep hearing this buzzing, and I thought it was outside, so I take my jacket off, I throw it on the couch, and I hear the buzzing come from the jacket. I have goosebumps right now thinking about this. The thing was in my jacket. Like I set my jacket at the end of the table. Oh my goodness. Oh, I haven't shared that with anybody. Oh my goodness gracious. Tried experimenting and it died on me. Experimenting, are you talking about the Claude OAuth? Yeah, so I use Sonnet 4.5. So for my YouTube script output, I now use the YouTube script itself, the research, the voice analyzation phase, and then I have a title, thumbnail, hook methodology. That's all Opus 4.6. And it asks, hey, give me an idea for a video right now and we'll run through this YouTube script generator to show you how it works. And then the output is Sonnet 4.5. Because of all the logic I have baked into the command, I found that it's cheaper, it's faster, and it's just as good, and it actually doesn't complicate things as much as Opus 4.6 does when I had it running the entire flow. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, because of the recent model from yesterday. Yeah, listen, I think that's everyone, right? ChatGPT is great. I used it a lot at first, but I only use it for Codex 5.3 now. That's it. I don't use it for anything else. Yeah. It's not always the best, but hey, listen, I think it's more important to test and see if it's something. Having this in my mouth while talking is not a good combination. And just testing it on a free plan is not the worst. I guess it sucks when you run into those limitations and then your work comes down to a grinding halt because you can't continue, right? But I'm all for bootstrap. Test first before you spend any money on hardware or subscriptions. But to justify, the Claude subscription is so cheap, that's depending on where you live, that is one meal out for lunch. I think you can afford that for the month, right? And if you can't, I understand everyone's situation is a bit different, but I think it's worth it to test for a month. Interesting. The math ain't math in there, is it? I haven't seen anything like that happen with mine. What model are you using? I'm guessing you're using it in Openclaw, correct? Or are you using this in the CLI? And then secondly, so one thing you have to make sure of, I'll open up a ghosty terminal right now. I have a demo account. So this other account that I have, let's spin up Claude. So it's a pro sub, but the features should be the same. When you spin up Claude, type in /model, do this in your terminal first. You might be using the /fast mode. Don't use that. It's insanely expensive. It's fast, but it's insanely expensive. You can now toggle on 4.6, you can toggle between low effort, medium effort, and high effort here, right? I keep it on high, I have no issues. Fast mode, I saw that advertisement. I am not even testing it. I don't even care. So, so maybe it's possible that, and if it's within Openclaw, talk to your agent and say, hey, what model are we on? Are we on high, medium, or low effort? And then are we using fast mode? And then that'll give you some clarity there. But that's my guess as to how you're at 17% on the week, but only 50% on a 5-hour window. That doesn't make sense to me. Something's configured this way to where it's causing that, in my opinion. Unless your OAuth token was sniped somehow. I know that's rare, but maybe somebody else is using your OAuth token too. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Yeah, so for me, I just pay the monthly subscriptions. I'm not gonna be paying API. I will eventually set up local models once I have more system resources allocated to it, but right now I'm bootstrapping. It's not in my budget to go spend. I also have that old server back in California, but it doesn't have the GPUs needed and the GPU memory needed to run local models efficiently. So I'm not gonna deploy it that way, but yeah, I don't use API keys because it's very cost prohibitive for sure. So estimates of how much I work with it and how much is covered. Do you mean like how much usage I burn through, just operational wise? And then max versus API, I hope I just answered that. I don't use APIs. The only API I use, correction, is Nano Banana Pro. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. Check what I just ran through. Hopefully I answered it. Yeah, that's why OAuth tokens are great to test with, right? You can really test. Yeah, so I'm configuring out a community Discord right now, and I set up Clay. He is a Gemini 3 Flash bot, right? He interacts. He talks quite a bit. Actually, listen, I hate to send you guys on a wild goose chase, but if you do want to join the Discord, Derek, remind me, was it 2 live streams ago? I posted a Discord invite link with 10 invites. If you go find that invite link from the chat and on the live stream, come join, right? But keep in mind, like, be kind, right? Be curious. We're here to build, we're here to grow, right? Yeah, math ain't mathin'. Yeah, check that out, check that out. Sorry, I'm way behind here. Yeah, so listen, I did, so I have a Claude Max 200 a month. I have a Google AI Ultra for a fail-safe so I can bypass my Claude Max and use Claude reasoning through anti-gravity OAuth. I got 60% off for the first 3 months, so I'm paying about $116 a month right now. And I gotta say, I'm gonna make some videos on it, but I freaking love Whisk. I've been coming up with animations and new thumbnail concepts all within Whisk, and I'm barely scratching the surface of my AI credits. It's insane. I also want to find a way to have an agent spin up its own VM browser profile to use the interface online so that I don't have to burn through API usage. But I gotta say, I love this suite of tools. Whisk, Flow, Image. I was having fun with music last night. I was just kind of like testing it. I'm like, oh, wow, I need to take advantage of this Google Ultra sub. I can't just use it for CLI stuff because I'm gonna have all these unused credits that don't roll over. That's the negative there, they don't roll over. Hold on, where was I? And then I also do ChatGPT Pro for $20 a month. So right now, I pay about $350 a month for all the subs. Hopefully I just answered them. I'm just catching up on chat, man. I'm not used to chat flowing like this at all. I'm not used to it. No, don't worry about it. When I'm in streaming, I don't hear Discord. Yeah, so I use OAuth. So my subscription for Claude, Google Ultra, You can get away with the Google Pro as well. I just find that you burn through the usage window so freaking quick. It's really annoying. It's really annoying. All right, I caught up. Whew. Man, y'all are making me sweat. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm just not used to that. I'm gonna have to get used to it, don't I? All right, so give me a video idea. What's a video you guys want to see? Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe it's Openclaw related. I want to show you my YouTube script generation process so that you can see how it works. And then I also have two other things that, shout out Alex Finn, he actually inspired me to incorporate a feature like this. So in Muddy OS, I have these nightly cron jobs, nightly Clearmud OS, and nightly Muddy OS. What it does is it analyzes each operating system, or each app rather, and it looks for ways to improve it based off of my vision for Clearmud. At first it was a little redundant, but I then had to fine tune the cron jobs to say, if you're adding a new feature first, go and take a look if you can improve an existing feature, right? And I'm gonna give you an example of what it did. So when I was first building out my content calendar to replace Notion, I spent a lot of time on this. It was insane, but I'm loving it. So when I'm recording a video, I'll show you part 2 of yesterday's video. I already prepped a script for it. I originally did this recording mode because I don't read the script word for word, but it's nice to like in between like takes, I'll like reference back to like, okay, what was the talking point? Because my memory, it's, you know, I don't remember everything, right? So I created this recording mode, which I think is pretty sweet, right? It like cleans up the whole interface. I can then click the hook, expand, and then go through the script to kind of follow along my talking points, right? And then it built me out a teleprompter, but it didn't build it out in this mode. It created a new tab on the left, right? So those are those little things that like you work through. It's not perfect. It's not gonna do things exactly how you want it to do it, especially at first, but you have to train it. You have to take the time to like learn and communicate, right? It created this teleprompter mode. I might have to start using this just to test. Look at this. So I hit play, it starts scrolling. I didn't ask for this. It surprised me with this, but it surprised me with it because I told it. I set a cron job, and one trick for cron jobs, I learned this with my VM. It may not be the same if you have a dedicated piece of hardware on 24/7, but when you're creating a scheduled job, cron job, say you want it to be an isolated session. That way, if your main agent chat is idle for any reason, right? If the heartbeat didn't check back in, I noticed for the first like 2 nights, like it was intermittent. It worked one night, it didn't work the other night. And I asked the agent, I was like, why are these failing? What can we do to make sure these don't fail? And it told me, it said, well, I can configure this as an isolated session. That way, no matter what, as long as this server's online, it'll run, right? So it's independent from the main chat. And yeah, like whatever you build, you can just tell it like self-improve based off of all the context I've given you. Now, keep in mind, I've spent a lot of time. The first few weeks, I was testing and playing. You'll learn with I just recorded, or I finished the edit today. I'm finishing the edit on, this is a Claude CLI video here. How to set up agent teams in the CLI, and then I did a bonus YouTube script automation demo. But this one here, I break down, in my opinion, the easiest way to build your soul and identity in an authentic and genuine approach. Experiment it first. Give it a brief explanation of how you want it, configured, how do you want it to communicate, what its personality is. And then over time, as you're building things out, as you're sharing more about yourself, it starts to understand you a little bit better. And then after 2 weeks of use, have a session and say, hey, we've done a lot of work together, but your soul and identity are outdated. What I'd like you to do is dig through all of our memory files, every single markdown, and I want you to rewrite your soul and your markdown file based off of all of our lines of communication. The way I communicate with Openclaw a lot is like, I'll talk to it and say, hey, you need to start doing things this way moving forward. Please pin this atop our memory file. But it doesn't automatically update its identity and soul. So the cool thing about this though is you genuinely and organically is the right word. You organically build this data gold mine, and then you have it improve, right? Self-improve. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. All right, I don't have any video ideas, so I'm gonna come up with my own. Let me also show you different parts of Clearmud OS. So this is all internal, right? I have no plans to sell this. I built things to make my life easier. That's how I'm using Openclaw, right? How can I keep this a one-man show for as long as possible? So I have this trending tab that I actually pulled from another creator who was on Greg Eisenberg's show. I think it was / last 30 days. Openclaw automation. So right now, it's researching Reddit and X for anything Openclaw automation related. So this is like my normal Monday is an ideation day where I just think. I think about what video that I can create, that I would enjoy creating, that helps me improve my system, but also helps you, right? Like it's like a 3-part thing there. And I just start off in trending. And let's wait for this to finish. It should be persistent. I believe I fixed that. Let's jump between. Oh shoot, it's not. But you know what? That's something I need to fix. So I rebuilt Google Keep here. I need to fix this, but this is where I add things for my Infra Saturdays to improve. So this is where I just add things to like add to my list for Saturday's big updates. But I really love this. I'm a big Google Keep guy for a while, and I've now built my own so that no matter where I am in my OS, if I have a note, I can quickly add a note here, and then I can also attach it to a video project. So if I have an idea for a video as I'm working on something else, I can attach it there, and when I go to my content calendar, there's that weird little glitch. What is that? Why is that muddy OS? There we go. Something to do with my mouse. And I haven't used it recently, but if you select notes right here, it slides out a note that I attached to that project, right? And this is not something I knew out the gate. This is like something that I'm just like slowly like, I use it every day, right? I use it to create content, to ideate. And I think of like, okay, I would really love this to be here. So I write a note rather than doing it now, right? I will be honest, the first 10 days, I was, as I mentioned, I was staying up to like 4 or 5 in the morning. I was burning through usage. I was just constantly fixing as I was going rather than being, my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday's always a film day, film whatever videos are in my queue. Wednesday's hybrid, so I film what I didn't finish the day before, and then I start rough edits. And then Thursday is my fine-tune SFX, video effects, get it ready for export on Friday. And then Friday is a light day / client work day, right? So that's my week. But like when I was first setting these up, I had there was none of that. There was none of that. But now I have more discipline to just take notes of what's not working where. And then Saturday is my big infrastructure day where I optimize things. So, but let's go back to trending, because if I refresh, that job should show up. I guess it's not. That's a bummer. That's a bummer bug. I'll have to fix that. So I'll fix that before we demonstrate. I know I fixed it here. So this is my generate ideas. I also built this in a long form video. I built this using Google's AI Studio in the web. And if you're into YouTube, trying to grow on YouTube, chances are you know the name Patty Galloway. He's worked with some of the biggest creators. He has this methodology for ideation. 100 ideas for a topic, narrow it down to 10, pick your favorite. So I downloaded a few like 2 to 3 hour long transcripts. I didn't download them. I gave them to a Claude Code CLI project. I said, download YT-DLP, which is a great free tool that pulls the transcript of a YouTube URL. I said, analyze all these transcripts and feed me a methodology file, right? Then this whole generate ideas is based off of the methodology learned from all of those transcripts that are summarized. So let's type in Openclaw automation for SMB, for small to mid-sized businesses. And let's generate ideas. Now, I really hope it doesn't break. Let's go back and forth here. You can see here, so I did fix the persistent memory there. to where I can then toggle out and then go back to it. I guess I didn't do that for trending. And you're seeing it real time. Like, this stuff's not perfect. You have to fine tune things as you go. Like, nobody's one-shotting things out there. And if they are, I think they're just lying to you. No offense to them. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just my approach of building to where I can't one-shot things. I've one-shotted things in certain aspects, but I'm always improving. I'm always evolving. Hey, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. That's, wait, I misread that. I thought you said 50% of your usage in 2 hours. Okay. Listen, yeah, there has to be a problem to solve. Like, if you go look at my first videos on this channel, I was making videos that I thought people wanted to see. They were trash. I need to watch the cussing. They were trash, right? Because I was making them for the wrong reason. I was also just starting, so my editing was trash. Like, it was very slow. I think I had 5 subscribers for like the first 3 months, right? And 3 of them were friends. I never self-promoted this, by the way. My goal for Clearmud was to do this as organically as possible. I don't tag anybody in social posts. I don't tag any influencers. I don't try to like cheat exposure. I wanted this to be as organic and as possible and let the content and my work speak for itself. But the true unlock happened when I started making videos that I wanted to see. That in parallel, right? Through my ideation, I'm like, okay, I really think this is valuable, and 100,000 people might not think this is valuable, but I think 5 will. So it goes onto my list. And that was the true unlock when I started making videos to improve my workflow and my life. I started to notice like, wow, I have more energy. I enjoy this. And I'm actually steadily growing now. This is great. So that's like one suggestion I have for anybody using Openclaw. Use it for you. Don't go try to copy somebody's setup just because it looks cool. Analyze whether or not you need that setup. Set up something simple at first and then expand, and then keep consuming, right? Consume content that you like to consume. There's certain videos that I don't watch the whole thing. I'll just like go through them because I know that particular person generally isn't always providing value. So it's just knowing what you're watching and who you're watching, and then picking the best of everything and then improving your life, right? So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, you still get hiccups. So I don't want my agent with full access to my operating system. That's why. And I also built this in mind knowing that I was eventually going to migrate this to my server rack back in my studio in the States. So I have a VMware server that, I used to have like 8 servers running off of it. It's like it's an octa-core, so it should have 12 cores, and then it has like 96, I think, gigs of memory. So I knew that I wanted to migrate to that environment at some point, and VMware Fusion is a part of the VMware Workstation and VMware ESXi suite. So it's an easy drag of all the virtual machine files for me to my server environment, right? But also, I've grown to love it because I never have to restart my gateway. Anytime I got to shut it down or pause the system, I just hit pause on the VM and I close it. Here's a tip: watch videos or glance at a screenshot if they show you something and just feed it to your bot right there. So for anybody curious about how I built what I built, just take screenshots and say, hey, try to reverse engineer this. And then also feed your bot this YouTube URL once we're done live streaming, and it'll try to rebuild it. Like, it may not nail it because it doesn't know the entire back end, but the front end, it'll probably nail it, like, line for line. So I'm running on an old M1 Max, not fully maxed out. Let's go see. I forget, how much do I have here? It's not as much as I would like, I'll be honest. I'm waiting for the MacBook M5 Max to come out so I can buy a used M4 Max. So I bought this when the M2 or M3 was out. I can't remember which series was out. But as you can see here, I'm running off of 32 gigs of memory. I allocated 12 gigs of memory to my VM. At first it was only 4, and then it started running into out of memory errors and it let me know, so I expanded it. And then I only give it 2 of my cores. One negative here keep in mind there are negatives to this, is I can't share my GPU cores, right? So running a local model in a VM instance like this, it's gonna be nearly impossible to be very efficient and worth it. But yeah, I have 32 gigs total. The M1 Max, I forget how many cores and how many cores the CPU and GPU share, but it's, you know, it's good enough. Honestly, you can run this thing on a quad core with 16 gigs of memory and not run into issues. So I use VMware Fusion because that's the Mac OS version. VMware Workstation Pro is the Windows version. And they now actually opened up VMware Fusion Pro. I've since updated my VMware Fusion. It was on like an old version 13. Now it's on 25H2 something, which is the Pro version. Can't tell any differences. I went to Pro thinking that GPUs would be enabled, but they're not. But yeah, the whole verbiage of VMware, Fusion means it's Mac, Workstation means it's Windows. But the ESXi, the hypervisor, it can pull from both of those virtual machine files and it can host either file. That's why I chose this suite of tools. But yeah, I used to set up, back in my IT days, a lot of VMware servers, a lot of VMware workstations in client offices, doing certain tasks. So good question though. Thanks for asking. Hope I answered it. If I never answer anybody's question, by the way, just reiterate. All right, let's go back to this workflow here. Generate ideas. So here are my filtered ideas. And this wasn't one shot. It looks like it's not working. It should be a bento box style. I need to fix that. So I'm gonna write a note, fix bento box view on generate ideas. And that's just gonna add to my list. All right, place my 4,000. And I'm very selective on the videos I pick. I'm not a big clickbait guy. I hate clickbaiting. That's just not the type of person I am. 5 automations. Ooh, this one seems pretty cool because it's like a weekend thing, so it doesn't take away from your day-to-day operations. And then I also built in this feature, so I have an idea bank and a script. So I'll pull up my old Notion. I haven't stopped paying for it. This is something I need to work on. But if you go to my main dashboard here, right, these are still things I have to migrate. I have like a weekly to-do list. I don't really use these anymore. Projects. I scroll all the way down and I have this idea bank and it's a table view. And every morning on Monday, I would manually create 10 ideas, right? And there's a ton of ideas in here that I still need to migrate, right? I can keep loading more, loading more, loading more. So I eventually built in an idea bank here. It's just not optimized yet. So I don't know if I'll have enough time this weekend to do it. That might be a next weekend thing. But I wanted to incorporate this into my flow. That way, if I see 2 ideas I like in an output, I can say, okay, script one and then bank the other, right? So I have these hotkeys here. I'm leaning this one. Let me finish reading them all. No, that's very misleading. It might be $0 to set up, but it's rarely $0 to operate. Yeah, I mean, this one stood out to me, right? Because I helped out with the family business for many years. I know the struggling pains of a small business owner, right? So this appeals to me because it's like, wow, I can do this on a weekend. It doesn't take away from my day-to-day, my Monday through Friday, my bread and butter, you know? So let's select this. I'm just gonna go ahead and script it immediately. And what it does is it pulls in the pre-selected context here and then fills in the title here for me. And then I just run the script. And my script right now, it's using Opus 4.6. So I have 2 turns on this script. First, it's going through that thumbnail title hook methodology that I baked into it back when I built it in the CLI. And then it's gonna give me 3 strategies to pick from based off of that idea. I analyze the output, I then pick my strategy, and then at that turn, Sonnet 4.5 takes over and it spits out the script. And then before, I used to have to copy paste each line. It was really tedious. Like my old way of doing things when I had my Claude Code CLI/Obsidian workflow is I would have the nice markdown file, but then I would have to go into here to Clearmud right? This is my old workspace. I still need to migrate a few of these. Like this one I haven't migrated yet, which is in our queue. But like I used to have to go in here, create a new project. It was so freaking tedious and slow. I would go to my Clearmud template. Let's make that, I think my mouse's battery is dying. What's going on, Notion? Why are you so slow? Let's refresh. Okay, bruh. What are you doing? So I would then go in and copy paste all these fields. So you're gonna notice my video module now in my new content calendar. I migrated this template because I'm familiar with it. So I have 2 columns. On the left is metadata stuff, on the right is script stuff, and then top center's hook, right? So as we go through this, let's go pick our strategy. It gives its recommendation as far as which strategy to pick. But I don't always go with it. Sometimes I steer away. So let's go read. Strategy 1, the weekend builder. I automated my entire business in 1 weekend, 5 AI automations you can copy. Okay. Gives a thumbnail concept. I usually skip that. Every morning, I usually go straight for the hook. Every Monday morning, I used to wake up to the same mess. Emails I forgot to answer over the weekend, calendar conflicts I didn't catch, social media mentions I missed, and the invoice that was due Friday, yeah, late again. So last weekend, I sat down and said, I'm fixing all of this today, and I did. 5 automations, 1 weekend, and now my business runs itself before I even open my laptop. I think that's valuable, but I would definitely tweak that a little bit to be more my personality. Let's go strategy 2. 5 AI automations that save me 10 hours a week. So I would switch this up because I don't operate like most small businesses, right? So I really want to think about the small business in mind. Stop running your business like it's 2019. Ooh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Interesting. Interesting. Let's go check out the hook. If you're still manually checking your email. See, I want to get away because everyone, like, these are common use cases. And correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys want to see me make a video about these common use cases, let me know. I'm avoiding them because everyone and their mothers are doing this. I'd rather show something a little bit more unique and valuable and challenging to do. Yeah, I'm going with strategy 1. And then this is also like my response here. If I don't like any of the strategies, I can tell it to redo it. Or I can say strategy 1, but with this approach. For the sake of the demo, I'm just showing you the flow. And then I just hit send. And now as you can see, Sonnet took over. So you can see at the top, it was Opus 4.6. And I gotta say, I'm impressed with Opus 4.6. This is my first week of testing it. I was very hesitant when it first came out because through my testing in the CLI, I found that it was very token heavy. But it has been very efficient and very just intelligent for me that I'm just like, okay, I'm running it for a lot on my system. And I'm not running into any weekly usage issues this week at all, which is great on the first week of testing. So we're just gonna wait. There is some weird front-end glitch going on. So I'm gonna add a note, front-end glitch on YouTube script. Doesn't affect output, just visual. Going to comments while we wait. What's up, OX? Boji, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, this is something I've built out slowly but surely. I first started building out different parts of this in the past few months. Like they would be Claude code projects that I would spin up in Cursor, open the terminal, and then view the markdown render output in Obsidian. But then I would copy paste all of that into Notion. Essentially, once I started to see the vision for where I wanted to take my Openclaw instance, I fed it all the projects that I built in the CLI that operate out of Claude into one share. And that's another benefit is I do have, going back to like why I love running this VM, I have this share on my desktop that it has access to, but it has access to nothing else. So I essentially pasted in all of my projects. And this front end that you see here, I built on a live stream. I think it was January 7th. It was based off of video to social. I had this idea to create a front end for it. So I built the first version of this front end live. You can literally go back and watch that. Like I built a lot of this stuff in public. But when it came to this, I optimized things even further, gave it all of my projects. And I'm going to be honest, at first it was very buggy. It was not perfect. Things weren't working. Things were breaking. But through persistence and learning how Openclaw interprets the project files from the Claude Code CLI, learning how to avoid using an API key to then do a REST API call locally so that it uses Claude Code in the CLI to call these commands rather than an API token on the front end. Like I had to go through those growing pains of like giving it all the projects and it not working. And then me asking like, why? Is there a workaround? That's always my thing. Is there a workaround? If it leads me down a path of having to pay for something, is there a workaround? Going back to my Muddy OS, by default, it wanted me to use 11 Labs. 11 Labs costs money. It's not completely free to use, right? They have a free tier, I believe, but I said, no, give me an alternative for this daily stand-up, right? And I don't think I demoed this, did I? So right now it's checking. That's right. We were going through Muddy OS earlier and I forgot to demo this. Check this out. So don't judge my voices yet.
PM Sync, team. This is the accountability round. 2 meetings already today and we assigned clear action items. I don't want status reports, I want proof of work.
And still listen.
YouTube ticked up 10 subs since 2 p.m.
But I'll also show you, so like each one of these are my my chief of staff, right? My CTO, my CMO, my CRO, and they all control their sub-agents. Muddy delegates, he's always available to me. He's never doing anything unless I tell him to do it now. But like when they're running, I can verify that they have a mind of their own. If I go click Elon, I can see every single one of his responses here. So they actually spin up their own sessions and communicate in a sequence. So it takes 15 minutes to run that stand-up. That one was automated today. And then I can call a stand-up with a topic. And if I just want the topic to incorporate, you know, Elon, I specify, right? So it's a pretty cool feature I built in. This took a lot of debugging. It was not perfect out of the gate at all. It was not perfect out of the gate. But I believe I'm using Microsoft something. I can ask Openclaw, but it was a Microsoft solution. The voices are super like monotone, but what's hilarious is I've been following Gary Vaynerchuk for quite some time. Hold on. Let me go.
PM Sync,
let me go
team.
to Gary.
Since the 2 p.m. sync, I've been working on the content cascade for Thursday's video. The workflow doc is locked from last night.
And then for some reason, is it Warren? Warren talks like Rick Rubin. Any Rick Rubin fans
Since
in here?
Since 2 p.m., I drafted the hashtag SoulFiles channel proposal.
Actually, no.
Since 2 p.m., I've been executing modular memory.
Elon sounds like Rick Rubin. It's comedy. It's comedic. But going back to Clearmud OS, I built a lot of this. I fed it into my Openclaw bot and said, okay, I want to centralize everything. And I let it know the context. I want to eventually move away from Notion. So we're going to, once you have the foundation working, we're then going to start incorporating features, right? And a lot of these features it built for me. It surprised me. It surprised me with this sponsor hub one night with my cron job. Look at this. It looks like the API isn't being fed properly. So that's something I got to fix this weekend. Fix API call on sponsor hub, showing outdated data. So I'll fix that. But what's cool is it has a rate card built in. It has a pitch generator when I want to start reaching out to companies. It has an outreach tracker as well. So it surprised me with this. It surprised me with a growth roadmap. It built out this content cascade, which I personally don't use. But like, I'm going to go and evaluate all these things that it surprises me with. It built this out, which I thought was nifty. I don't use, I stay in the content calendar. The video autopsy I thought was pretty unique. This is still mind blowing to me. Thank you to each and every one of you here right now. I was not expecting this type of performance on this video at all. I stayed up until 2 a.m. responding to comments. I woke up, I thought it was a glitch. So for anybody just tuning in, by the way, if I haven't gotten to your comment on the long form, this long form, I'm taking time tomorrow, a couple hours to respond thoughtfully to everybody individually. I just didn't have the time today. I had to finish all the client work. But continuing along, has this performance tracker, which is cool. I don't really use it that much yet, but I will start using it. But as you can see, it's pulling data real time. It works. It surprised me with this. Thumbnail generation, I don't do this yet because I enjoy the process. I'm still learning about like psychology behind thumbnails. So like, I enjoy it. I do what gives me energy, and what gives me energy is creating things and experimentation. But this is something I'm gonna build out shortly. Voice checker, I have this built into a lot of my tools, but if I wanted to manually write an article and then check it here, I could. They surprised me with this, which was pretty cool. Our listener, this is trending plays off of this, right? But this is also something I don't use frequently, I'm gonna be honest, right? The main things I use right now, it also has a title lab, which is kind of cool. I need to optimize that. Competitor watch. I need to rephrase this. They're not necessarily competitors, but they're channels I watch frequently and look up to, right? I like their content. They're valuable. So Alex Finn, Riley Brown, Ray Fernando, Greg Eisenberg, Raz Mike, Theo, and Chris Rarouk. Those are my main 7 right now. I have more. I just haven't, I don't really come in here too often, right? I'm just more focused on making content. Newsletter, we're gonna have this launching very, very soon. I primarily work out of live streams and YouTube script and idea bank and content calendar, right? Because a lot of these other things are becoming automated through subagents who call these commands for me. Yeah. And this is something I gotta import my old table from here. But another cool feature is I can, take an idea, go to the YouTube script and generate that. So let's go back to, where were we? It looks like that it reset that preview, but you can see the recent output from 6 minutes ago. So it's really cool, right? This was my old view. It gives me all these alternative titles, right? This was from all the methodology I baked into my system. It gives me reasoning as to like why it's effective. I usually pick my favorite, or I pick my favorite and then make adjustments. I used to have to copy this into the metadata fields. Look at this automation I set in place. All I do is I add it to my calendar right here. I go to my calendar, there it is. I click it. Looks like the hook isn't being carried. So this is something I'll have to debug, right? The hook goes here. You guys are watching the system real time with all the bugs. Let's see. Hook not being copied into hook metadata on visual module from YouTube script, add to calendar. All right, so I'm just gonna save that note and I'll fix that on my infra day. But as you can see, it copies over all the long form titles. I don't really do short form, but this is like something I want to do eventually, so I left it there, so it's empty for now. It copies over an optimized YouTube script, or not YouTube script, YouTube metadata with timestamps suggested. I always have to edit this. This is never perfect, right? Because I don't follow a script when I record. I take the talking points, I then go through my normal flow, and then once my edit's done, I then will open up DaVinci Resolve here, open up this here, and then I'll go to each timestamp and then, title it accordingly. So that is something I still do myself, right? But this, presets it for me essentially. And sometimes I do get very close without even realizing it. Tools featured, resources. I sometimes edit this, right? Sometimes it gives me irrelevant stuff. This is still something I have to fine tune in the coming weeks, and then related videos. But like, look, it preps the description for me so I can just copy paste when it's ready and paste into YouTube. Eventually I'll automate this to have an agent post my videos for me. Right now that's me. I'm still dialing in the agent posting on socials for me from video to social. So as I mentioned, I'm holding its hand at first, right? Giving it more and more every week. Every week I'm giving it more and more responsibility once I trust that it understands a certain workflow, a certain pipeline, right? Optimized keyword tags. See, everything gets copied over properly. A LinkedIn post. I usually almost always edit these, but it's a great starting point. A Twitter post. Reddit post is a blank field, just like short form titles. It's something I want to start doing. I haven't incorporated yet. But then also the script, right? So as you can see here, it's like raw markdown text. But when I go to recording mode, everything is formatted properly here, which is pretty sweet. So, but yeah, that's my flow of like, now, you know, I do a lot of research. Sometimes I'll feed it a custom idea. And then I recently incorporated this source context because in the past I would find that I would give it a title idea, but like it didn't have any context to like narrow it down. So now I can narrow down the script output as well, which is pretty nifty. But yeah, I mean, what else do you guys want to see? What else can I show you? There is a documentation section here as well, as far as like how it operates. I'm going to update this a lot when I do Saturday's session. It has obviously the files here as well. This is my notepad. Yeah, I think I've showed off everything. And then a light dark mode, of course. But I prefer light mode in Clearmud OS and now dark mode in Muddy OS. But yeah, that's the show and tell. I don't know what else I can show you. I guess I'm just here to answer questions. And then, man, we've almost been at it 2 hours. That's wild. Let me catch up on comments here. Just build from your pain points and it'll be great. Couldn't have said it better myself, Derek. Yeah, so here's my question. Sorry it took me so long. I was really in the flow there of show and tell. My question is the hardware only going to be used for Openclaw? In that case, don't bother installing VMware for that, right? Just install it on its hardware. Because like if you're going to install the VM on it just to have the VM running, but the whole purpose of that laptop is to run Openclaw, there's no need for the VM in that case, in my opinion. Unless you want that option to kind of use it as a personal computer as well. And to answer the question about the cost, it really depends. I think minimum, you know, all of my tests installing a fresh deployment, I've been getting away with two cores and 4 gigs of memory, but I will be honest, like, as you can see my system, it requires a lot of memory to run. I have it doing a lot. So I did have to up the resources. So I would say try to find a quad core with 8 gigs of RAM and you should be good to go. And then you can always update the RAM. I know RAM's very expensive right now. If you ever run into issues, that's why it might be better to try to find a 16 gig configuration. That way you don't have to worry about it. But I think at least a quad core, and then you're smooth sailing for most tasks. But local models is a completely different story, right? Because that depends on your GPU, RAM, and GPU cores. So that's completely different. Hey, appreciate you. Sorry I didn't respond to that too quickly, but thanks for the feedback. I did the voice and assigned it to a phone number and talked to my agents on the phone. Wild times. You know, I haven't given my agent my phone number because I don't want it calling me. Right now I prefer voice notes via Telegram and Discord. I haven't given it that because I don't even want, I just don't want it. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Okay. I'm like bit by bit. What's up, Real Tay? Thanks for tuning in. So for ClawDBot, it's free, right? It was open source to install. So primarily time. But when it comes to what models I use, I have a Claude Max subscription, so that's $200 a month. I have a Google AI Ultra subscription, which I'm testing out because of 60% off at $116 a month. And then a $20 ChatGPT, $20 a month ChatGPT Plus, which I believe my first month is free because I was signing back up. So I still haven't paid ChatGPT since I set up this Openclaw. But I use ChatGPT OAuth token for 5.3 codecs for backend and security. And then my Gemini key, I primarily use as a fail-safe model, but then I also have bots running with Gemini 3 Flash, and they're running great. And then I use the anti-gravity OAuth token pairing method, whereas if my Claude Max Opus 4.6 ever maxes on a weekly basis, it falls back to the anti-gravity Opus reasoning model, which I'll be honest, I said this early on, I'll reiterate, it wasn't as intelligent. It worked, but it was, I just prefer running off of Opus 4.6. Yeah, no API, just subs for me. API Nano Banana Pro. reselling marketplace for a friend. Since it was my first time doing anything similar, I started with Base 44. They're cheaper options. What's your thoughts? Is Base 44 like a vibe coding platform, kind of like Bolt or VO or Replit? Is my guess. Wow, I had that. Apparently, I visited that because it pre-selected that domain. Yeah, so I'm guessing it's like that. So listen, I mean, a lot of these, I'm guessing they charge per agents. An unlimited number of apps, 25 credits, share with a friend. Yeah, honestly, like, I think you can get away with a pro Claude sub and then a GPT Codex sub, $40 a month. And you have your 5-hour blocks, right? Most people don't use the weekly usage on those models. You build it in Claude Code CLI with Opus 4.6, and then you analyze the code base with Codex 5.3. What you can do is essentially do a split terminal in your preferred IDE, have Claude Opus on the left, Codex on the right. There's also Claude extensions that make it a more user-friendly prompting like this, right? If you don't want to work out of the CLI, it's practically the same thing. That honestly would be cheaper. It would teach you new skill sets and new ways to approach it. That is a myth. I personally don't know anybody who's gotten banned. I think that was just clickbait tactics. I could be wrong. Maybe I get banned at some point, but no, that's not a thing. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. That would be my approach, right? But there will be that hurdle up front of like getting comfortable operating out of an IDE. But once you learn, I think I made a comparison video. It was one of my first videos that actually did really well because I genuinely like wanted to test. I was using Replit at first, right? I was using a lot of things, but I was testing certain, I tested Lovable, I tested Bolt. I never made videos on them, but I made a video on Replit because I figured out how much they were charging me a month versus how much I can get out of Claude Code in the command line. I was like, what is going on? More people need to know about this. It's an incredibly outdated video, but it's still very relevant. If you look back in my comparisons playlist, it's the Replit versus Claude Code. It's an insane comparison. Like, it's a great way to start. You learn a new skill. You go through the growing pains of kind of like learning how to vibe code that way. And I have a feeling you'll never go back. You'll never go back. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I use setup tokens. So they're kind of like presented as an API. If you work with a lot of API keys, you'll notice like the strings start to look similar depending on the platform that they're originating from. The setup token on Claude Code looks almost like an API, right? And then you can create new ones essentially, and it'll revoke the previous one, I believe. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but yeah, it works fine. Works great. There has been no issues. I don't know anybody close to me. I haven't had anybody reach out to me. I've seen some of the doomsday posts of people getting banned, but I haven't actually seen somebody that I can validate what they said. Like they're actually being serious and truthful and honest that they got banned. I don't think that's a thing. I think just like Apple, Claude is stoked for Openclaw. They weren't stoked for CloudBot, right? With that whole asking them to change the name because of the copyright infringement. But I guarantee you their subs exploded just since CloudBot was born, for sure. Yeah, so that's an issue there. Local LLMs require a lot of resources, so that's something to keep in mind. I think if you have the hardware, I think it's not a bad idea to test, for sure. And I think at some point, once I have the budget to build out a really dope server, I'd probably go with a super micro bare bones, and because they have a lot of, I forget, yeah, it's supermicro.com. Let's go to their, where is it? GPU systems. They're very expensive. But I do plan on investing in one at some point. Where is it? Let's go right. Those are for like data centers. GPU workstation. And start off with like a bare bones like this. It has a dual CPU slot, so you can scale it up. You can start with one Xeon processor. Depending on the specs, right, you get a lot of cores and threads to divvy out. And then memory is just an insane price right now. I'm sure it'll come down in a year or two, but right now, from my IT days, it's wild. It reminds me of, was it Thailand? Not Thailand. There was a Southeast Asian country that had these gnarly floods, and it affected the production of hard drives. And this was before solid states were really mainline. This is how far back my IT days date. And we were selling 1 terabyte mechanical discs with the spindles, 10x above cost of what it was before the floods, because the prices from the suppliers just boop. It was wild. It eventually came back down. But yeah, let me go back to the comments here. Yeah, me too. I haven't tested yet, right? I'm happy with the models I'm using. One thing I try to live off of is there's like this, especially when I first started making videos and just exploring and experimenting, there's that new shiny toy syndrome. And I think it's good to be disciplined with that. If you have something working and you're happy with it, keep working with it. Experiment with those other solutions, sure. But like, if you're happy with your setup, don't go chasing every new shiny toy, because you'll waste a lot of time. In my opinion, that's something I've learned personally. So I hope that helps somebody down the road. Yeah, and it's all local, right? So the beauty of running Openclaw locally is, as long as you don't open up any ports, as long as you're confident with who's in your network is not trying to exploit you. All of my private networks, I divvy out, right? I have a public facing network which can't communicate with my private network. That way, if I have guests at my home, either home, they get the guest network, they don't get the private network. They're called VLANs, right? Virtual LANs. And I have all of my main stuff in a virtual LAN on both my environments. Now, if you share your local network with somebody else, just make sure you trust them, right? And if they're not computer savvy, you trust them, because they're not gonna try to hack into your Openclaw setup. But yeah, keeping it local, not doing port forwarding on your router, you're nice and safe and secure, no matter what Openclaw audit tells you, right? It's only if you start opening your doors to the outside world, that's when you have to be mindful. That's when you have to invest in a firewall and learn about how firewalls work so you can properly block traffic that's trying to hack into your network or server. But yeah, me personally, I don't know how long you've been here, forgive me. I'm just trying to keep up with chat. I'm running my setup right now on an M1 Max 14-inch, 32 gigs of memory. I divvied out 12 gigs of memory to the VM, 2 cores, not much. And my system runs lightning fast. I mean, I can edit videos, I can work out of the VM, I can have countless browser tabs open. I have no issues. Although, if you watched last, I think Wednesday's live stream, an hour in, I had this weird glitch on my Mac to where it just logged out. It didn't reboot. It didn't technically crash. It just logged out and closed everything. That was the first time I had an issue with this M1 Max, but I've had it quite a few years. So I'm waiting for that M5 Max MacBook Pro to come out so everyone can chase it. And then I'll go buy a nice used M4 Max Nano. I'll try to get it maxed out, right? We'll see what my budget looks like. I'm guessing that's gonna happen in a few months. But I like, you know, the jump from M1 to M4 is already insane. I don't need to go spend top dollar on an M5. I'm just gonna wait for the price of the M4s to come down before I upgrade this whole thing. Yeah, shiny toy syndrome is huge with all this AI stuff. Yeah, exactly. I think it's good to be aware, right? Don't just discredit something, right? Don't forgive me, I've been in Portugal so long, my English is kind of like butchered. I don't know if arrogance the right word. No, I don't think arrogance the right word. Just keep an open mind, like be aware of what's happening in the industry because it moves so fast, but stay true to like your workflow and what you're comfortable working out of. And then slowly dip your toes in other parts. Don't just go chasing everything. That's just, listen, that works for me. It's not gonna work for everybody. I also have limited time as well. Now that I have a bunch of client work on a weekly basis, it's like, a lot of it's AI related, but it's, and I can't really discuss some of it, but yeah, Dash Up You Made is on GitHub. No, it's not. It is not. Sorry about that. Listen, I've spent countless hours on it. Here's my recommendation. I'm gonna actually revisit this because we have a bunch of people watching. At the beginning of this live stream, if you're just tuning in, I presented this. So starting March 1st, I'm gonna start live streaming 3 days a week. And I'd like your feedback. What do you wanna see? I have these ideas for themes of the day. Monday, it's literally going through my ideation with you, answering questions, just having fun, right? Using my Clearmud OS, answering questions, having fun, writing new scripts. Wednesday is special. I think building a new Openclaw agent instance from scratch with all of my knowledge from Muddy OS and build it with you in public so that you can see step by step how I integrate things, how I talk to Openclaw. If that's something you want to see, let me know. But here's my thing against giving out the code is, listen, look, if you're just tuning in, this already looks different than the video yesterday, right? It's because it's evolving so quickly. I'm constantly making an improvement. So maybe once I get to the point where I'm happy with it, I will export a skeleton of it for people to fork and build off their own. But right now, honestly, it's still a little buggy, right? So it's like, to me, the video yesterday was all around inspiring and giving you ideas and having you go and build it yourself. Now, here's a little hack. Go rewatch yesterday's video and just take screenshots of every part of what I showed you. Feed it to your Openclaw bot. Give it the YouTube URL from that post. Say, download this transcript. Here's screenshots. I want to try to recreate Muddy OS from Clearmud's video. And see what it says. Chances are it'll probably nail the front end pretty well, right? But the back end, how everything's tied in, how everything's configured, like you have to like, right? The stack? Yeah, so the stack, I believe, I want to say it's Vite. So React Vite, backend is all local. I will be deploying a convex database at some point, but since this is all local, I don't need that. TypeScript, CSS, what else? Let me create a new session here. What's Muddy OS tech stack? I'll let you know right now. We're gonna ask what Muddy OS's tech stack is. And we'll learn. But yeah, like the purpose of the video, right, was to you know, show and tell, but also like inspire, because the way I've built out both of these comes from like solving pain points that I have and not just blindly copying somebody else. And then, but also watching everybody else, what they're building and looking at a feature and being like, wow, I need that. I think that will help me in this pain point. Let me pull that idea from them and incorporate it into my, at first, very basic layout. So when I first built out Muddy OS, it was trash. It was like I'll reiterate on this. I said this earlier on in the live stream, but I went through well over 25 iterations. Like, I mean, it was, I was frustrated, right? I spent a lot of time just debugging things, getting things to work the way I want them to work, realizing I just spent time incorporating something that I'm not going to use, so then I trash a certain feature. So let's go see what it says. All right, Muddy OS, front end, HTML, CSS, JS. Served locally on a port. Node.js shows our location and then what our service name is. Voila, there you go. Hope that helps. Hey, great minds. Dadoja. There we go. Dude, I love that. And he has sub-agents under him, and each agent has its own specific skills and tasks. Dude, it sounds like we have an identical system. That's wild. Hey, no problem. Hey, thanks for stopping by, and thanks for the comment. Any questions I can answer, you let me know. Let's go. Okay, I'm guessing you're still commenting because that cut off. I'll wait. Yeah, so right now my cron job's here. Let's see, I had a bug last night, so they didn't run. More specifically, my executive C-suite team didn't run, but now I have like a daily systems check, making sure a daily executive sync. My workspaces has evolved since yesterday's video. And now I have a shared meeting memory. So every meeting they have memory of what was discussed, what improvements were made, what action items, right, were listed out so that they don't start to be repetitive. But now I have them meeting, you know, once a day without me. But then I can also call my own stand-ups and select what department head I want involved in what sub-agents, right? So if I just want to have a chat, marketing chat, I can just spin up Muddy and Gary and they go back and forth, right? And this takes, you know, 15, 20 minutes to run because going to the task manager, I'll show you, these are old sessions. But this was from, I think, 4 hours ago. You can see here I have this filter option to show like every single individual chief of staff has, you can see their responses. So they're actually going back and forth and they have that shared memory. It's a pretty cool setup. I'll be honest, like I'm still testing that, right? That was a new feature I built right before I launched that video. So going to Fluky, what's up Fluky? Hostinger. I feel like I've heard of that. Let me go check that out for you. Hostinger. Okay. So here's my thing about VPS hosting. I'm not against it. But there's a reason I haven't made a video on it yet. Because I just believe there's too many vulnerabilities, too many doors open. You're trusting in the hosting to be secure with your data. I think from the perspective of testing its capabilities and not feeding it too much personal information, I think any of them are great, right? Because if there's ever a security vulnerability, if there's ever an issue with your hosting provider, depending on who you're hosting through, at least it's not sensitive or financial or something like that, right? I think if you're using one of those solutions, use it from a mindset of being experimenting first. That would be my approach. So I think any of the hosting providers is good. I mean, they looked like they had a cool website. I can't say I've heard of them personally. This logo doesn't look familiar to me, so I wish I can give more feedback on that. But that's my approach to VPS hosting Openclaw setups. It's like, use it as a testing ground first. And if you see the power in Openclaw and you want to incorporate it into your daily flow, whether it's your business, personal, family, finances, what have you, then think about, okay, do you travel a lot? Do you need VPS hosting? Maybe there's something you can do locally. Maybe there's a machine that you can buy and keep it headless. And what I mean by headless is you would first have to configure it with a monitor, but then keep it plugged in directly to your router. Don't open any ports and you're safe. And you have that computer running at your home network 24/7. So you just ping from Telegram or WhatsApp. You don't have to be in the same network as it, right? Unless of course you're hosting something locally, then that's a whole nother topic of discussion. But that's my approach. Yeah, so I need to play with anti-gravity some more. I gotta say, the IDE, when it first came out, I loved it. But I went through a phase of like not using it. I came back to it and it wasn't, something felt off. And I don't necessarily think it was anti-gravity's fault. I think it was my expectation of anti-gravity. Because as I was going back to earlier, like when you're chasing these shiny toys, it's like you become in tune with how something else works. And if that thing works way better and you try going back to an old system, you then try to blame that model provider for dumbing down their agent when they probably never did that, right? Maybe something's going on behind the scenes like that, but chances are it's your expectations of the tool. I will be playing with anti-gravity more now that I have that Google Ultra sub. I highlighted on this earlier in the stream. I've been loving Whisk. So I want to build my own local tool utilizing Whisk credits in anti-gravity, and then eventually I will deploy it to my, so I'm gonna keep this separate from Openclaw for now, but I wanna build it out of the IDE, test it, and then if I'm happy with it, then I'll incorporate it into Openclaw. Because now, like, my setup, I depend on it. So I can't tinker with it midweek. I can't test new ideas midweek because I run the risk of breaking something and then having to troubleshoot something, and then my momentum on the week of whatever it is I'm doing is killed, right? So it's always like test first, then deploy, then incorporate. What's your tech stack for Muddy OS? It's right here. Front end is HTML, CSS, JS, backend's Node.js, and you don't need those, right? Those are just personal things, but yeah, that should help. Okay, Derek's got some insight here for domains in the past, but moved to Vercel. Okay, nice. Okay, hey, he can verify, it's legit. I just don't put mine on VPS, stick to local. Yeah, listen, I'm a local guy. I'm a local believer, right? I think a VPS makes sense when you need it to be public facing, but I think the testing, yeah, do it on a VPS because most offer cheap $5 a month solutions. It's great, but I think you need to understand more about network security as well, just fundamentals, so that you understand like what potential vulnerabilities there are. And if you don't have that experience, just ask your bot. It will teach you. Especially if it's running off 4.6, it will teach you. Hey, no problem. I appreciate you. Thanks for the comment and support. No problem, Herc. Yeah, so where were we? I know we were gonna do a ClawCrib deployment today. Man, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how I'm feeling about that. This has already been a long live stream with show and tell, but I would love some feedback for everybody watching. Going back, is everyone cool with this schedule? This will start next month, right? Do you guys want me to see, you want to see me build out a fresh Openclaw agent, brand new dashboard? We can build it together. That's the beauty of this approach. It will be a series every Wednesday. We build that dashboard out. We customize it together, and you literally can follow me step by step, literally building in public, the definition of it. Ideation Monday, Community Day on Friday, or build a new micro SaaS. Yeah, wait, I think I missed a comment. Didn't I see a Raspberry Pi? Yeah, sorry about that, man. I could have sworn. Hey, yeah, I did miss a few. Hey, sorry about this, David. I knew I missed a few comments. So I think it should be fine. It might be slow. Raspberry Pis are notoriously a little bit slower, right? Because it's you know, it's a Raspberry Pi. It's the palm of your hand. You can't expect it to perform the same as an actual computer, but I think once you get things up and running, I think it should be just fine. I don't see why not. That'd be a fun test to do for sure. But just keep in mind, like, just the size of that hardware. I've set up back in the day, like, I set up like live streaming webcams for my dog when she was still alive, and I would be at work or at a client's office, and it was all through a Raspberry Pi and a little webcam. I had a lot of fun projects that I built out with Raspberry Pis. They're great. They're just notoriously a bit slower. Now, I'm like at least 5 years removed from buying a new one, so maybe they've improved their hardware. Maybe they are snappy and fast. I don't know. Just made it to Openclaw. Onboard Linux Ubuntu on my Windows ThinkPad following your video. I love to hear it. I love to hear that you had no issues. I love to hear that the video was thorough enough for you to accomplish that. So thank you. I'm glad. Happy to hear this. And David, how do I use it safely on a Windows 11 PC? Either install VMware Workstation or go follow my demo where I do a really easy step on how to deploy an Ubuntu installation via command line on your Windows-based PC. It's a little bit more difficult to manage than a virtual machine would be. So maybe my suggestion is just go use VirtualBox. It's open source. But also VMware Workstation Pro should be free. Broadcom acquired them, which I don't like that, but this is now free to use through Broadcom. So it'll should send you to Broadcom's website. Yeah. You'll have to create an account, jump through hoops, accept terms, but you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to give a credit card. So VMware Workstation Pro would be my first choice because I'm familiar with that software and I trust it. VirtualBox is the open source version by Oracle. I'm not actually sure if Oracle built it, but I've been using this for well over 10 years in the past for clients, for our own computer shop. We used it for certain environments. Completely free, completely open source, no email sign up wall, literally download now, pick your host, right? This one, you might run into minor little things you might have to learn about it to set up properly, but it should work seamlessly. But I did my video on VMware because I just like the software better. By popular demand, I'll do one for VirtualBox if you guys want. Just let me know. But yeah, this is what I'm eyeing eventually, right? Once you start adding, let's say I only start with one CPU. It doesn't even give me that option. I personally would get the bare bones and then get my own CPU, right? I wouldn't build it through here because I can source the parts cheaper through old supplier contacts I have. Memory though is a pain in the ass. That's going to cost a lot. And then the GPUs, where is it? GPUs are on back order. I would want to go with the Blackwell. I would want to go with 4 of them. And if you add 4 of them to your cart, I think they're each at least 5,000. So like this setup that I want, ideally to run local models, it would cost me like 30, 40,000. So this is like an aspirational down the road as this channel grows, as the support to this channel grows. Who knows? Maybe your support helps fund the purchase of this and then we build it live on the show, right? Like, but yeah, Supermicro, in my opinion, is the way to go. But that's definitely, you got to have an IT and tech background to really appreciate that approach. All right, let's go back. Wednesday building with, okay, thank you, Derek. First person to mention this. I think a few people mentioned out the gate. So Wednesday building will be great. Good refresher for those who have one too. So deep in mind that if I started over, I'd be like, where do I turn? Yeah. So my only thought with building one in public is I either invest in a separate $200 a month max sub to do that so it doesn't interfere with, you know, my roughly 50% weekly usage that I'll take once things are a little bit more finely tuned. Because by March, I'm going to have Clearmud and Muddy OS at a point where I'm happy. I don't need to do as many infra changes, right? Probably do those once a month. But I need to think strategically here because if I use the same plan, you know, my primary operations might come to a halt. So, but I don't mind, you know, we can do this over the course of a month. I'll sign up for a month, cancel it immediately, and we'll use a separate Claude Max sub for that. But I like the idea of Wednesday because, you know, Friday, people generally have stuff to do, family obligations, partnership obligations, social obligations. So that should be a lighter day / let's just build something. And then Monday, you know, I want to keep that as my ideation day. So I figured, well, I'll just work out a Clearmud live, answer questions, and do operations on the show. Nice. Great use case. That's brilliant. I love that. Nice. So is it its own agent, a part of an existing infrastructure, or is it actually its own Openclaw setup? And maybe I'm not understanding that, but I love that. I love that. I love experimenting with these little tools. Elon is planning to set up a data center on the moon. Did you? I did not. I don't keep tabs on like recent news and stuff. So it really has to like be out and be talked about for it to like reach my, I'm not a big news guy. Every morning I wake up, my phone is on DND. I don't get notifications. The first 30 minutes of my day is a little bit of exercise, a little bit of just thought. I really spend at least 45 minutes in silence between an exercise, some language learning. I'm practicing Italian right now to add to my languages. And yeah, so it used to be check the news in the morning. That's why I went off on that rant. But I don't really, no, news doesn't interest me as much as it used to. Unless it's like AI related news and I'm searching for it, then it comes across my feed. But that's a little different. I'm going to look into that. Thanks for the tip. Ah, okay, okay. Jenkins. See, I'm so far removed from the IT days. Is it Jenkins.io? Looks like it is.
In today's video, we're going to talk.
Hey, I'm going to learn something new together. Thank you for letting me know what you're doing, Fahad. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm here to learn.
Talk about what is a Jenkins agent. Are you new here? If you are, welcome. And if you are new here, you don't know who I am. My name is Darren Pope, and I'm a developer advocate for CloudBees. You may be new to this whole world of Jenkins, and you've heard some of the phrases, maybe a Jenkins controller and a Jenkins agent. Now, what is the purpose of a Jenkins agent? Typically, an agent is either a machine, whether that's a virtualized machine, or maybe even bare metal, or maybe your favorite Raspberry Pi. Or it could even be just a container that connects to the Jenkins controller and executes tasks as directed by the controller. The purpose of the Jenkins controller is to administrate the connections and potentially even the tooling for those agents. Sometimes, as we said before, agents can be bare metal or virtualized. Maybe it could even be cloud. Something like EC2 or maybe even Azure. Those types of instances could be dynamically provisioned and connected to the Jenkins controller. Basically, any type of machine that can.
So what I'm seeing here, this is cool. And the idea I have out the gate is have a system with enough cores to run 8 separate VM instances with 8 separate Jenkins agents. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And run Java
Very interesting.
Can be an agent for.
That way, if something ever messes up, right? Each role and task of the agent is segregated from the next so it doesn't affect the entire system, right?
A Jenkins controller. You may be asking yourself, why do I need an agent? I've got my Jenkins controller. I can run jobs directly on the controller. As a good practice, from both a security perspective and potentially a performance perspective, it is much better to use an agent to do all of your work and not do any kind of builds directly on your controller. So whether you're actually using Jenkins to build an app.
Okay, I get the gist of it. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. Very cool. Very cool. Hey, thanks for sharing. I'd never heard of this before. Maybe experiment with a new Openclaw with free LLM like Llama to see the results. Just thinking aloud. Yeah. Yeah, and I'll be back in my lab, my true lab where I built and ran a lot of different businesses. I have all my tools there. All my extra hardware is there. So I think that would probably be Friday though. And maybe we move Friday to Saturday. Maybe we want to do a Saturday morning stream instead of a Friday stream. I like the idea of keeping it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but maybe it's maybe it's no Monday, right? I haven't heard any interest in Monday. Maybe we just do Wednesday, Saturday streams where Wednesday we're building the Openclaw agent dashboard and Saturday is just a nice Saturday morning. We're just vibing, we're building, we're experimenting. I'm gonna think about this. But if you're watching this live or watching the recording, let me know your preference. I really want to structure this schedule for you, selfishly for me, but also for you, with you in mind. Let me know what you're interested in most on these live streams, and we'll make it happen, Captain. All right. What else? I know today, listen, I would go another 2 hours at least on live stream if we dig into ClawCrib. So I think we'll save ClawCrib for next week. In the meantime, I'm going to go reach out to, let's see, I retweeted him so that I would remember George Pickett. Has anyone heard of this guy yet? He's building out his own visual kind of management tool. I think it's called Openclaw Studio. He started building it when it was still named Moltbot. This is who I was thinking of reaching out to like share the idea of ClawCrib and possibly just handing it off to him. Because it seems like he's done a ton of work. Yeah, he's got just a very UI. It's like a more improved UI. I haven't started testing it yet, so, but I will. It's definitely different than ClawCrib's like focus of being this fun agentic visual crib to like show off your crib. But the more I started thinking about it the past few days is, you know, a lot of people don't want to share their souls, don't want to share their memory, don't want to share their identity. So like the original idea I had of like people sharing their crib and then somebody cloning it, it's, I don't know how that would take. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board on that and really think over the weekend on my infra session. And then we'll come back at that next week for sure. But if you guys want a sneak peek, let me give you a sneak peek of like what we were building. And by the way, this was not something I wanted money for. I was going to open it for free. When Openclaw became Openclaw, finally the last name change, I started looking at domains, like just to come up with ideas. I got ClawCrib.com. I think it's a great name. And the original idea I had for it, I guess it'd be great to get your feedback. I took it offline. Let me just go re-enable it real quick. So let's go into Muddy's VM. Let's go to his Vercel account. Let's go add existing domain. So I can also control his VM when I need to, which is great. ClawCrib.com. DNS records are in place, so it should be Insta. So let's refresh that page. There it is. So my original idea was like this visual two-part builder and browser to where you can, but it would be dependent on people uploading their cribs so that you can kind of like visualize your Openclaw setup before you set it up. And let me know if this seems interesting to you. I'll keep building it and I won't try to hand it off to somebody else. Let me keep going here. So you can browse. There's no data in it right now. I removed all the test data. Builder, a place for you to visually kind of like build your own crib, pre-select a model. And then once you have like everything you want incorporated into place here, you then export the config. And then on a fresh Openclaw instance, you feed it the config. You say, hey, I just exported this config from ClawCrib. I'd like to set this up. And then it will take you through a customized onboarding process that just sets you up with what you dragged onto the canvas. Does this seem interesting to you? If it does, I'll continue working on it. My main thing right now is researching, making awesome videos, live streaming. And then obviously a lot of my time's going between Clearmud and Muddy. I do have another tool. Listen, I'm not here to self-promote. It's live, it's for the hospitality industry. If you're clever enough, you'll know how to find it. So like, and then I have client work. So my plate is technically full. So the idea behind ClawCrib is building it here live on stream. And it's almost ready, but I'm having second thoughts about the profiles and what we allow agents to share, right? I believe during last live stream, I removed the ability for an agent to share their memory because that's very personal. Whereas it would only share their soul, their identity, but even that's a little personal for some people depending on how they configure their markdown files. So, and I'm also noticing the battery. This is glitching. Let me change out that battery really quickly before it dies. Perfect. Now it's real time. It started to glitch on me. I could tell. But yeah, if you're watching this, whether it's live or the recording, let me know what you think about this. Let me know if it interests you. Let me know if I should continue. I'm going to continue doing it on my spare time, but you know, I'm prioritizing, really just trying to prioritize my time. And since we've already been at a healthy 2.5 hours of a live stream, I think it's been a solid live stream. We answered a ton of questions. We have a lot of new viewers. It's great. I think we saved this for, I might do a surprise Monday stream as next week's my last full week in Europe. So it's my last full week of actually having time to not dedicate to travel. So maybe we do, but for sure we'll be live next Wednesday and Friday. But yeah, I like the concept. I think it's a great concept, but it's a matter of testing it and having the community test it with me, right? Because it's not going to be perfect out the gate, right? I did set up this show off, your onboarding here. We did create an NPX package as well already. We reserved the name. So we'll continue working on this next week. I might even do a surprise live stream tomorrow. Sunday, I'm on the road all day. So as much as I'd love to live stream, that's just not going to happen. But yeah, that's what ClawCrib is, if you guys are curious. I was originally going to focus half of this live stream on ClawCrib, but I wasn't expecting the show and tell to go almost 3 hours, 2.5 hours here. So yeah. But let me know your thoughts on that idea. I'd love some feedback. Yeah, so right now I'm running my bots on a VMware Fusion deployment. So it's all local. The reason I chose VMware Fusion is I'm eventually going to migrate this to a VMware ESXi server. So it's just an easy copy paste for me. But I'm running it on an old M1 Max, 32 gigs of RAM. And it's the Max chip. I can't remember how many shared GPU, CPU cores, but it's not using any GPU cores at all. I only have 2 cores assigned to the VM as well as 12 gigs of memory. And it's solid. It's absolutely solid. And that's the tech stack for MuddyOS that we kindly gave away, which wasn't a secret. We weren't trying to keep it a secret. And if anyone tries to replicate MuddyOS, please ping me. Let me know. Let me know how far you get. Let me know what it evolves into. I'm genuinely curious to see how this inspires people to build their own. That was the whole purpose of yesterday's video, is just to inspire people. I have, as I was showing earlier in the stream, I already have a video in queue where we're going to break down how it was built. I won't have the exact prompts for you, but I'm going to try to help you reverse engineer it. And if you're just tuning in now, you're going to notice that this task manager already looks different from yesterday's video because I'm constantly improving it. I'm constantly tweaking it. I'm constantly making changes to it. Hey, Dark Pallies. You play WoW? Or is that just a coincidence? Nice. Hey, ping me. Ping me just ping me. Ping me in the comments, ping me on DMs. Let me know how you get, how far you get. Nice. Right on. Hey, happy to hear it. Yeah, ping me. I'd love to hear how far you get. I'm glad it's inspiring you to try to build your own version of it. That's what this is all about. So we'll continue working on ClawCrib another day because I'll be honest with you, I do have dinner plans tonight. And I was not expecting the show and tell to last as long as it did. So let me take that back offline. And let's just go ahead and remove this domain from Vercel's project. Voila. So now I can minimize that VM. But yeah, in the queue, for anybody curious about what video, hey, nice. Yeah, me too. Back in 2004, was it released? My brother got me into it. What's funny is I was a human paladin. That was my first character. That's why I was like, Pallies? No, get out of here. It's gotta be, right? That's awesome, yeah. It's amazing that game is still going and still popular. It's wild to me. I'd like to give you guys, if you're interested, a sneak peek into the content we're posting here very soon. I'm finishing this edit next week. I'll actually finish it this weekend, but next week we have a memory-focused, where is it? Oh, it looks like the dates are swapped. So I'm gonna swap these back. This one's done, Openclaw Memory Explained. It's a nice breakdown to understand, and in my opinion, one of the most organic and genuine and authentic ways to build out your soul and memory, or rather your soul and your identity. You first define it yourself, but when you're first creating your bot, don't overthink that step. Get into experimenting and building as soon as possible. Start feeding it ideas, start asking it questions, start learning from it. And then after a few weeks of usage, you then have this big data dump, this data gold mine of memory that you can then utilize to improve your soul and identity for your bot. So that video essentially talks about my strategy on how I defined my soul and identity, and how I continue to optimize the system with that approach. So that's going to be Tuesday's video. Thursday's video is how to set up Claude Code CLI agent teams. And then we do a fun YouTube script automation demonstration using Gemini's CLI, or rather Gemini's API. That was a fun one. I think that's necessary because I haven't seen like an easy, and maybe it's just not coming up in my feed, but a lot of people don't know using Claude Code out of the CLI, by default, agent teams isn't enabled. It's still experimental. So that video breaks that down. This other one is a comparison. I already recorded these two, where this one I think I'm going to backlog, to be honest. But this one, we build the same web app using Claude Code in the CLI versus our Openclaw agent, just to like give a comparison of like how much different the output is, how much different the experience is. It's not me telling you use Openclaw over Claude Code CLI. It's just me showing the two approaches and seeing the experience out of both. I think it's a fun video. I think it's a great video. I think a lot of people will enjoy that one. I enjoyed making it. And I'm gonna be brutally honest, I recorded it once, was unhappy with it, re-recorded it a second time, a separate day, and then had to re-record it that second day, a third time, because I forgot to screen share. So I've recorded the video 3 times total. It was quite that one's not going backlogged at all. That one's going live. Human, yeah. Hey, Derek, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'll see you in the Discord. Nice, I'm looking forward to it. I'll check it out after dinner. Yeah. And I hate to, like I said earlier, like the Discord's private, invite only. I really want to make sure people are just genuinely curious, kind, builder. They just want to grow. They just want to learn. I don't want to open it up and have people come in and spam shit. Excuse my language. So there's a link floating in Wednesday's live stream, or possibly Friday's live stream from last week. A Discord invite with 10 invites available. There should be 8 left. So if you find that link, come join. I feel like if you do the effort to go find that link, you're worthy of that invite. So there's still 8 open invites that are there. Yeah. And let me know if you're interested, if you're watching this live or watching the recording and you're interested in the Discord community. Listen, I'll never paywall it, but I do want to slowly build it out and open its doors at a nice pace. So this is my rogue name. Nice. I had if we're still talking about, maybe you're talking about a rogue nickname and not a rogue in World of Warcraft. I also played a rogue in World of Warcraft too back in the day. Hey, that's a good tip. I have some rules with my bot where it's like, there's no better time than the present. Delegate immediately. Don't put things off for tomorrow, what could be done today, right? Type of thing. Yeah. And yeah, you know, I think we've been at it 2.5 hours here. I think it's a great stopping point. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who stopped by this live stream. Thank you everybody for supporting the channel. I hope you found some value here. I hope I continue to bring that value. It's my vow to you that I'll always be here to be of service. I will never try to be a comedian. I will never try to be a showman. That's no jab at anybody, right? I'm just not that type of person. I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to help people. And I'll never create a boot camp that's sitting behind a paywall, right? That's just not who I am. I'm going to continue making dope videos, and hopefully with your help, this channel will continue to grow, and you'll give me ideas for new videos to make that you want to see. And yeah, thanks for being here. Happy building. And I hope everyone has a great weekend and a great rest of their week. And if you're just tuning in this, I just want to reiterate, I pinned a comment on yesterday's video that just went bonkers. I'm going to take the time over the weekend to respond to everybody individually, thoughtfully. So thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the comments. I'm not ignoring you. I just had a busy day today. I woke up to what I thought was a YouTube glitch, but no, it's just massive amounts of love on that video and exposure to that video. So I just got to say thank you for being here. And have a good weekend, and I'll catch you guys next week. We'll be Tuesday and Thursday. We have our long form videos. Wednesday and Friday, we'll be live streaming. So till then, cheers. And I'll end it in a second just so I can say goodbye if there's any last minute goodbyes, but just want to reiterate, I'm just grateful, humbled, grateful for every single one of you, and thanks for all the comments today. Appreciate you all. And I'll be honest, I'm shocked that light's still running. That light's running off of batteries. I thought it cuts out at 2 hours. It does not. That's hilarious.